What's up, everyone? People of the world, all of y'all. Listen, this is only going to take like 2 minutes. You can do it. 2 minutes. Maybe 3. Acts 13, verse 47 says, I have made you a light to the Gentiles to bring salvation to the farthest corners of the earth. This is Paul's call on his life. Paul and Barnabas knew they had been called to preach the word, and yet they came up against this giant of disappointment over and over again, and they did not quit. For example, Acts 13 and 14, Paul and Barnabas are run out of the city by angry mobs in Antioch, Lystra, Iconium, other names you can't pronounce, run out of the city. Paul was even stoned and left for dead, like with rocks. But then a crazy thing happens. Sorry about my eye. But then a crazy thing happens. In chapter 14, verse 21, it says they returned to Lystra, Iconium, and Antioch. You have to know the call on your life and really care for the salvation of souls to have that kind of persistence. If Paul and Barnabas had any doubts about whether they were supposed to preach the gospel in these places, listen, their doubts certainly would have been confirmed by what happened to them, and they would have quit. Even knowing their call, it's like the disappointment of being stoned for preaching the gospel doesn't even seem to faze Paul. He does not bow to the fear of man, and he will not let a chance of death, even a pretty good chance, stop him from bringing the message of life. So I got to thinking, I wonder what would happen if we all had refined vision for God's call on our life, like Paul and Barnabas. I wonder what would happen if we didn't let disappointment be our map and fear be our wise counsel. I'll tell you what would happen. The kingdom of God would forcefully advance. Revival would break out across the earth. Every part of society, every sphere of influence would be transformed as the kingdom of God comes on earth as it is in heaven. Listen, you haven't missed it. You're not too late. You can lean in close and hear his voice for you today. Wow. We can come boldly before the throne and receive grace and then live from that place. We can hear from God the good works that he's prepared for us to do and receive power to do them. The world needs us to be a people who live present in the presence of God, who hear and know his voice, and who let nothing stop us from living in our calling. Vision, perseverance, power, and presence. It's not too late.